Hello students, once again I welcome you all. Presently we are dealing with Badal Sarkar as a playwright, and when it comes to his literary contributions, our university has prescribed an interesting play written by Badal Sarkar under the title Beyond the Land of Hatamala. You could see this now. I could obtain the book online. Just yesterday I got the book, and of course in the days to come we will deal with this book in detail. But in this class I would like to address you all and talk about the general introduction to Badal Sarkar, who was born on 15th of July 1925 as a playwright, as a pioneering figure, and a man who has immensely contributed to Indian literature. So Badal Sarkar is one of the India's major playwrights and a pioneering figure and ideologue in what has now come to be known as the third theater in our country. I will definitely explain you what do you mean by the third theater as far as Indian literary scenario is concerned. By the early 70s, Badal Sarkar has given up the proscenium theater and begun acting in natural and created environment spaces alike, in the small halls wherever possible, where you could accommodate about 10 backless benches that would be rearranged in different formations to define and redefine the auditorium and the space required for acting. Of course, you find few things like there in parks and open spaces, almost anywhere, everywhere possible. As a man working in the field of playwriting, he continuously discovered, or he puts in his effort in discovering audiences who were never exposed to the theater. Badal Sarkar and his small theater group called Shatabdi kept theater out of the commercial system by refusing to advertise in the media and by not charging for admission. It means the performance would go out at the end of a performance to the audience to make a collection, and the spectators would pay whatever they liked, usually small sums or trifle amounts. But none of the performances was charged as a fee or the entry fee for any of the play. The battle against the media and the battle against the money have been the battles that Badal Sarkar and his group was totally dedicated for. Badal Sarkar and his group of dedicated, ideologically committed volunteers have been fighting from the 70s onwards in their very experimentation with theater form and idiom, in their passion for reaching out and going right into the audience. Performing on Saturday afternoons in Curzon Park, an apology for a park at the heart of the city, with all kinds of transport from ancient tram cars to slick, luminous raisins, a maddening din all around. They needed a wide enough range of plays for the park. This literary movement definitely created a sensation in the mind of the audience. Neither the performers in the play, nor the writer or the director or the producer had any money-centric approach. They were dedicated for literature. They were dedicated for theater, and they wanted to provide a platform to the people living in different stratas of society. And that's why all these experiments were done by Badal Sarkar and the group of volunteers working along with him. Roopkathar Kilnekari, which is later titled and translated into English as Candle in Fairyland, was written by Badal Sarkar in 1974, and that play was exclusively meant for a performance there in a park. It means for the park, a very close adaptation of a story which was meant for children. Actually, that was written by Premendra Mitra. His lifetime is 1904 to 1988. Although, as the Badal Sarkar told him, or told in an interview, I would say, instead of telling the author directly, told in an interview on 19th of July 1991 that he was never, or he has never written for a play which was significantly and specifically meant for the children. Eventually it came out. Eventually it happened. Because it's so hard to write something for children. That is the very perception of Badal Sarkar in this respect. Whatever is thematically valuable in my plays that came from the story of Hemendra Mitra, the paper boy, however, was my improvisation. If I had written it for children, I could not have used the idiom of the popular praise so extensively. That was the self-declaration made by Badal Sarkar in an interview. Similarly, he compares and contrasts and say, but Mitra's modern fairy tale of a prince virtually created by the press and an augur made to compromise and play a shady, dying, and vanishing game closely monitored by the press, only to be exposed at the end by the press itself. In fact, it's a brilliant critique of the media in their machinations of sensation and money. Mitra called his praise and the praise baron Isaac Kibram and sentenced to exile. He merely has him to say, give me the price for my 40%. Let me get back to the stock market with that. And in this context, Sarkar prefers to send him to Bengal, to the original claim that he had or he made to films, but to pieces and changed mythological and social stories in a jiffy way. Badal Sarkar, as a playwright, added, I met parties, revolutions, plays, even temples. But anyway, this is a general discussion about some of the plays which are written by Badal Sarkar. But if you really come down to the line and try to understand the kind of approach adopted by Badal Sarkar, you will definitely realize that his taste and preferences were different than the taste of the people of his time. While Scandal in Fairyland in a children's theater easily lends itself to colorful fairy tale that glitter, Sarkar, for his own performances in the park, made his actors, actresses appear in everyday clothes with a tag on the back identifying the king. The minister, the messenger, and other characters have their own crucial role to play. The first actor who played Prince Thunderbolt had a large, towering figure, and his presence was quickly recognized by the audience. But in the course of time, when he left the group, he was replaced by an actress who appeared in salwar and kameez, and her hair tucked under the collar of the kameez, and the tag on her back identifying her as Vajra Kumar. But anyway, one thing I would like to say in this respect, that these are the different, what do you call it, experiments done by Badal Sarkar and his group and the people, those who joined him as the volunteers. As I said earlier also, they were totally dedicated for theater only, no other thing in mind. Now, just let us talk about the play that we are going to learn. Earlier also, I introduced Beyond the Land of Hatamala, which is also called Hatamalar Opare. But in English, it is mentioned as Beyond the Land of Hatamala. This play was written by Badal Sarkar in 1977, and it was a take-off from Hatamalar Deshi, a novel by Premendra Mitra and Leela Majumdar. It was serialized in the children's magazine titled Sandesh, and this magazine was edited by Nalini Das and Satyajit Ray. Probably you might have heard this very big name in the field of filmmaking, Satyajit Ray. The story, with its title, that is Beyond the Land of Hatamala, spirit and main characters had been conceived by Premendra Mitra as Miss Majumdar acknowledges in a note in the fifth volume of her collected works, which includes this work also. Sometime in the 40s, she says, 3 installments had appeared in serial sequence in a popular children's monthly. And there had been nothing after that. 30 years later, Mitra suggested that Miss Majumdar could carry on with it. So it indicates that the people, those who were dedicated for their literary contributions and theatrical experiments, they did it for a long period of time throughout their life. As far as this story is concerned, that is the story of Beyond the Land of Hatamala, you will realize that for Badal Sarkar, this is the story of two thieves, as I told earlier also. Both of them are fleeing from their pursuers. Finally, they jump into a river in order to safeguard themselves from the villagers. And finally, they found somewhere there in a new land, unknown land, unfamiliar land. And then all their experiences over there in the new land, that becomes the crucial aspect of this particular play. But if you see the moral teaching at the end, that is, these two thieves are converted into the two men who recognized and realized the value of significance of importance of work. Both of them, who were the professional thieves, and they loved to rob the people, but now by the end of the play we realize that they had some confusion, no doubt, in between, but the doctor made everything clear, and then they realized that if at all they could really work for the self and for others, of course their life will be the most comfortable life in the world. Because as you know, on that particular unfamiliar land, everything was freely accessible and available to them. But the condition was everybody in the society, in the community, was not working for the self, but for working for others as a whole, that is the community. And the people love. They did it very happily. because they were very much conscious of their responsibility as the part and parcel of the community. One thing which is really surprising over here for both the characters of our play, that there was no means of transaction, there was no mode of transaction as adopted over there in the land. The people used to work for one another. In exchange, they used to give and take only the things that one another requires. There was nothing like currency, there was nothing like money. But even though all the people in this community were living a very comfortable life, the biggest ever surprise of these two characters get when they are there in the jewelry shop. The golden jewelry can be picked up, can be used, can be replaced, can be exchanged freely. No charges, nothing. When everything is available for everybody else, so there was no question of grabbing the things or collecting the things or purchasing and buying the things and so on and so on. So all these things went on very smoothly there. And finally, our two central characters of this play, beyond the land of Hatamala, they decide to remain over there permanently, to settle down over there permanently. They did not like to come out of the place. And I think this is the success of the play. Because both of them, those who were the thieves once upon a time, now they are working over there in the land of Hatamala. So the question is, how Badal Sarkar handled the situation, a very ordinary, common situation in the life of the modern people. Directly or indirectly, he is trying to convince us, especially to the new generation also, that we should recognize, realize, and identify the importance of work. And this is how the play actually goes on.